Welcome to the May 20th, 2024 meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Adjustment. The Board of Zoning Adjustment is a 5-member board. 3 affirmative votes are required to approve a request for variance or other appeal. For anyone addressing the board today, please give us your name and address for the record, and then tell us what your hardship is or what your objection to this request may be. You will be given our decision today verbally, and you will receive our decision in writing within 10 days. Zoning approvals can be issued immediately following the hearing in our office at room B200. However, you will first be required to obtain a permit from the Jefferson County Department of Health if your application involves connection to a septic tank, or the Jefferson County Environmental Services Department if your application involves connection to the sanitary sewer. Anyone disagreeing with the board's decision today has 15 days in which to file an appeal in circuit court. Also, we would ask that you silence any electronic devices during this hearing. Our first item on the agenda is case number A240019, property owner Robert William Westbrook and Teresa Ann Westbrook, and the request approval of a guest house. Would staff please present the case?
Yes, ma'am. Again, this is A240019. It's a summary request for approval of a guest house. Section 1107 outlines the procedure for obtaining approval for a guest house, which basically states that it's up to the purview of the board to approve or disapprove guest houses in unincorporated Jefferson County. The existing zone is A1 agriculture. There's a residence and an accessory structure already on site, 6.8 acres. The property retains its original A1 zoning. As you can see up from the drawing, the proposed guest house is on the western side of the property. It borders parcel 2, which is actually a lake. Since 1990, there have been 34 cases requesting a guest house, garage, apartment. Only 3 of those requests have been denied. 1 was denied as the guest house garage apartment was constructed without permits. 1 was denied as a guest house garage in R6 zoning. The property in question in that case contained 0.37 acres and was located in an area where the average lot size was half that at 0.18 acres. The last one was denied because it was to be used as a model living office. Like I say again, you can see that there's be no change to the character of the neighborhood by that guest house being placed in the position it's going to be placed. Therefore, staff recommends approval with a stipulation that the guest house be used for personal or family use only. That is, not for rental or short-term rental purposes. Thank
you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case? At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request?
Hi, my name is Robert Westbrook.
Please step forward and give your name and address.
My name is Robert Westbrook. My wife, Teresa Westbrook. We live at 7050 Old Mill Trace. And we have this property, 10 acres, so stipulated with what was said with regards to it's not going to be a rental. It's not going to be anything. She's one of 10 kids. All my family lives around here, and it's just so we can have a place to, for Thanksgiving and things like that, and have our family there and be able to, spend the night, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. Is there any opposition that wanted to speak? Okay. This public hearing is now closed. If there are no other questions or comments from board members, can I have a motion from the board? All in favor?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I recommend approval of case A-24-0019 with the stipulation that the guest house be used for personal or family use only, not rental or short-term rental purposes.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
Okay. Any against on this, the vote? All four?
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, then your variance has been granted.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next case is case A 24-0020, property owner 2DN LLC. Applicant Brian, is it Presnell? Would the staff please present the case?
Yes, ma'am. This case A-24-0020. It's a summary request for variance for the terms of the zoning resolution to reduce the required 15-foot buffer to 4 feet along the north side property line where adjacent to residential properties, and to allow a dumpster enclosure to be located 4 feet to the north side property line in lieu of required 35 feet. Existing zone is CP preferred with commercial covenants. Covenants are as follows. There's a reversionary clause. Also, there's a best management practice. The best management practice is something that is kind of past practice that we do. The best management practices are also included in our permitting process. Clause number 3, the property will be used for an office and or existing residential use only. Number 4, there will be no new construction. Number 5, there will be no development beyond the 20-foot sanitary sewer easement. The last covenant is there will be a maximum of 1 sign design in place to be approved by the Director of Land Development. The existing land use, there's a residence and a couple of dilapidated structures on the property. As you can see from the aerial, it's 1.53 acres. In 1988, there was a variance granted to allow home occupation in E2 zoning district for a business centered around the refilling copy machine cartridges. The application also requested to be allowed 2 outside employees. The board stipulated the employees must be the immediate family only. As you can see from their plot plan, they're requesting for that. They requested for that dumpster pad to be the 4.3 feet instead of the I think 35. Also, they're asking to be allowed to make a driveway that comes in, which will get into the 15-foot buffer. I must add that this is the last commercial development, and it abuts 2 residential lots. You can see right here, I think it's 11 through 15. Vestavia, the surrounding municipality, allows for minimizing the 15-foot buffer in their zoning districts. However, they allow for when minimizing the buffer, they require a privacy fence. Therefore, staff recommendation is approval with a stipulation that with a stipulation that a privacy fence be installed along the residential part of the property line.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case?
I have one question for the staff regarding that dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you say something about that?
The dumpster would be closer than required. Staff, I think Michael has talked to the applicants and suggested that the dumpster be placed on the southern part of the property line.
Where it can meet building setbacks.
Right.
And wouldn't require a variance. In fact, staff has
to a location where it satisfies building requirements to be further away from that.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay. At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Please step forward and give us your name and address.
I'm DJ Simonetti. I reside at 1653 Warren Lane, which is north of the property line that we're discussing today. Oh, I got my phone. All right. Okay, so here's Rocky Ridge Road. Here's the proposed new driveway, the proposed location of the dumpster. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish lots that would be directly affected by the proposed changes. Our concerns are, as you might imagine, the change of the required spacing from the 15 feet to 4 feet, and the location of the dumpster. While I was out waiting earlier in the lobby here, I spoke to one of the principals involved who indicated that they were considering, or maybe have already decided, that they would move the location of the dumpster from where it is here on the north side of the property to the southern side, somewhere in here, which is, frankly, we're fine with that. The problem, though, is the major problem, is still the driveway. We assume that if the dumpster is placed somewhere in this area, this driveway would stay around and then come around and then hook up to the dumpster somewhere around this place. This area here, of course, is the oil change facility, and they wouldn't care. Again, I presume. So I have more questions than I have statements. This is our biggest concern, and the answers to my questions would determine whether or not we have other concerns.
And I'm sorry, I missed, which one of the lots on the back is yours?
Oh, mine's out of the picture.
Oh, okay.
There are lots right there.
Yes, just for the board's record, the three addresses that are directly affected by the driveway are 1677 and 1673 and 1669 Warren Lane.
Okay, okay.
Those are the only three addresses that were affected. Other than the driveway, they can develop as proposed without any sort of variance, minus, and again, that's not taking into consideration the dumpster pad that they've created.
Right.
Okay, okay.
And considering about putting a privacy fence, what do you think about that, the privacy fence added?
It doesn't change the distance, reduction in the distance. It's not going to, it might, I assume it would minimize the visual impact of the road, but it certainly wouldn't affect the noise. I assume the trucks that will be emptying the dumpster will be coming down from that, on that proposed driveway and turning left and picking up the garbage or the trash or whatever it is that's going to be in there. That's one of the questions. So that we are still concerned about the privacy fence, how big, how wide, how much is it going to add in terms of a sound buffer. We've got some issues about, and we can get to these whenever you want to, but we've got some issues about the parking lots and the lights that may be on, how high, how bright, and at what hours.
Which this property is zoned for commercial.
Sure, yes.
So, but, okay, so do you think that lessening the offset would fix the sound, a sound issue or, concern?
I'm not sure what you mean by less
Like,
than the offset.
so if we were to, I mean, the only variance, we're just looking at a few feet, approving a variance of a few feet. So I'm not sure how that would alleviate, if we didn't do a variance at all, if it maintained all of the current setbacks, you would still have a noise issue.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Our proposal, our question is, why not run the driveway, the new driveway, down the left or southern barrier or border of the property, where there's, on the other side of the fence there is the oil change place. Nobody cares there.
Okay.
On the other side, on our northern side, north of the property, where these homes will be, there's residences, and yes, they will care, and they'll hear it.
Okay. How about if we have the applicant come forward, if you'd like to speak, and see if he can address some of your concerns? Is the applicant here? Would you like to step forward? And please give us your, and if you have a seat, please. And you give us your name and address.
I'm Brian Presnell. I'm a civil engineer as the applicant on this project. My address is 1703 McConnell Lane, Mount Olive, Alabama.
Okay.
As was previously indicated, you can just take the dumpster off, the dumpster location off the request. We have some flexibility in moving it. It was just shown really more out of convenience on that. It would be the most convenient for the access, but there's no issue with moving that. I don't really know that it's been indicated in any of the documents, but this is a 2-level building. It's I think it's an old house with a basement. And the proposed use will be that the basement will be used for one office, and then the upstairs would be used for another office. So that's the need for the driveway to get around the backside of the property, so that they can be basically independent of one another. The rear office the lower office will be what the developer of the property is going to be using as his office. He has a contracting firm, but it's not going to be storage of materials or anything. It's just for him and his office workers, and maybe somebody to come in ever so often to look at some plans. Very, very low traffic, but there's not sufficient room, or will the grades, the elevations allow for the driveway to be put on the south side, because we did look at that, and I know that was a question that had been brought up. It's actually tighter on that side. I realize that we don't have any kind of buffer on that side, but just the grades would not allow for us to get a driveway feasibly on that side for access to the rear. The potential developer is here. He may can answer some more questions if they have or y'all have about the actual use of the building. In regards to the site lighting, I don't know, would you anticipate putting any pole lighting? It's probably just going to be lighting, that would just be placed on the structure itself, so that should not be any issues.
Okay.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for the applicant?
Maybe more.
I guess I have one question.
Yeah.
You're calling for a 4-foot buffer wall. Would you have a problem with 6 feet?
Well, the problem is just getting access. I think, can I go back to the plan?
Well, and also, what would be the actual size and everything of a fence?
The standard is typically 6 feet high privacy fence. We'll go back.
We have technical trouble sometimes.
Whoa. Is it froze? Some froze.
There we go. I mean, we are showing a 14-foot driveway along that northern side. I mean, at minimum, that could maybe be reduced to 12, but once we get beyond that, that's a standard lane of a road is 12. I was just showing 14. It would make it a little bit more accessible for, because the trash, since we will have a dumpster for the trash vehicle to get back there, but 12 would be really the bare minimum I think that we could go with.
But you're also willing to move the dumpster pad.
Yes, ma'am. You can just take that off. We will move the
And
dumpster.
how will they access the dumpster pad? Will they go across the parking lot, or how will they get there?
Well, I anticipate, we could move the dumpster pad somewhere down here. So, I mean, the truck will have to come through, access the pad, back up, and turn around and then leave.
But he'll go through the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We'll have to.
Okay. You have any other questions? Okay. Did that answer most of your questions or concerns?
Most, but not all.
Okay. Well, if there are not any other questions or comments,
Well,
if opposition wants to.
Right, if there's any more opposition.
yeah. I was like,
Are
what
there
was
any
the
more
rest?
opposition, or if you want to come forward and say anything? Thank you.
Yeah, most of this is my neighborhood. All right, so where the applicant wants to change from is it 15 to a 4? Is that the?
Well, 14 foot to 12 foot.
14 foot, no, I'm
No,
not
he's talking about the driveway. He's
driveway. I'm
asking
talking
about the variance.
The
Yeah.
variance.
The number of feet from the property line.
Oh,
And was the proposal to shrink that to 4 feet from the required 15? Is that correct? All right. In order to fit the 14-foot driveway, otherwise you run out of space. All right, so then the question becomes, how do we ameliorate that for the affected residents? And depending on the topography there, which I'm not familiar with, it seems to me that a 6-foot or 8-foot fence would not do it. It wouldn't for me, because that 4 feet is this.
Okay. But your property's not affected by that, correct?
These
but the
my
other
clients.
neighbors are. The neighbors
Okay,
are.
so some of y'all live in the ones that are, okay. That was my question. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, wait a minute.
No, I'm living down at the end, but I'm the lawyer. Not the only one. We got plenty of them on that street. So we still have a problem with that, and I would really prefer for some of the directly affected residents to make their feelings known to you. It's a little easier for me because I'm all the way down at the end. One more step and I'm in the creek. So that's that issue. I do have a question about what types of materials will be deposited or dumped in the dumpster. If it's paper, okay. If it's food, it's not. Got the issue about the lighting. And again, excuse me for being a lawyer, but the response is that we will probably do this. Well, probably doesn't quite do it. If they're going to keep the lights low on the side of the building, that's fine, but to whatever extent necessary, they need to commit to that. When will the dumpster be emptied? How frequently? What time of day? How big are the trucks or trucks that are going to be servicing it? We have some concerns about we understand that the contracting business to be located in the basement of the building, but we're concerned about whether any construction equipment would be stored behind the building.
That would be illegal.
Yeah, he said no.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I thought I heard someone mention signage really quickly.
Currently, they'd be restricted to a monument sign, and they could have a wall sign.
Monument, okay. So we are going, all right, on the back of the house, that is going to be turned into the offices of the tenant's construction business, contracting business. So that will be how many employees there, and then how many employees are expected to be utilized on the, for lack of a better term, front yard?
Well, and we're only addressing the variances that they're asking
Request for.
for.
Okay, I understand.
Because they will have to follow the current zoning for that property.
Okay, I understand.
So they would be restricted to office use.
Yeah.
In fact, currently, the property is restricted for office use, and it could open up for an office use tomorrow, and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
Is there any limit on parking spaces?
Parking spaces based on use or based on square footage of the residence?
Well, it's not a residence, so it'd be,
Well, again, based on, square
Building.
footage of the structure.
okay, all right. In the effort to ameliorate the impact, let's talk a minute more about the fencing, proposed fencing, 6, 8 feet, whatever it is. Is there, can someone illustrate from where that fence would begin and where it would end?
Currently, they meet the 15-foot buffer on the front parking lot, so again, right there as they approach within that 15-foot,
Okay.
run along that driveway all the way to the edge of the property, or the edge of the parking lot. They're not allowed to develop beyond that.
Right.
That's the way that the current covenants are structured.
Gotcha. All right.
So they're going as far as they can go, and again, we just apply for where they can't satisfy that 15-foot buffer until the edge of that property.
Got it.
I'm sorry, the edge of the parking lot, and that's it. Everything else would already be vegetated or not disturbed.
Will any of this affect the water table? Frankly, I'm not sure what that means.
Our building regulations are required, the developer is required to keep the same amount of runoff or less than what is happening in construction.
Yes.
So there'll be no additional runoff done by the.
And because there's floodplain on the property, you'll have to apply for a floodplain development permit, even though they're not touching the floodplain itself.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Any other? Step forward if you'd like to speak, please, and give your name and address.
My name is Susan Stoffel, and our house is the one in the lot beyond the dumpster. Our concern is the water table, as the space where they're not allowed to build or won't be building is a floodplain, and we're concerned that the street and the parking lot is going to raise the water table that would affect our property and with water runoff. Susan Stoffel, 1661 Warren Lane. Stoffel.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to address this opposition? Thank you.
Can I represent myself? I'm the builder / potential owner of this property. My name's Matt Ward.
Yeah,
My address is
address.
1741 Maryvale Road,
Correct.
Birmingham 35216. The property we're not changing the elevation of the property. In fact, that fence line that's there, lots 15, 14, 13, it gets progressively taller. That's a backfilled neighborhood. And at lot 12, the elevation of that property is approximately 6 to 8 feet taller than the backyard that I'm putting a parking lot in. So there's not an opportunity for water to run up that hill and affect the neighborhood above it. In fact, that water all tables down and comes onto this property and then goes to the back towards the creek currently. So the water table should be unaffected by that.
Okay.
Additionally, the fences, I think every lot across there has a 6 foot to 8 foot privacy fence on it. In fact, I was in, I think it was lot 12 or 13 in the backyard. You can't see the roof of the house that I'm proposing to work on from their backyard. So they're
So
well
they're up
above
from
me.
you.
Yeah, as far as this goes. This thing kind of sits in a hole below Express Oil on this side and below the neighborhood right there. I was sort of surprised it had a dry basement. So that made it an option. So it shouldn't be line of sight wise and things like that. And then someone else also asked about the dumpster size and use of the dumpster. It's office space, no food, no restaurant. It's not allowed within the property. So it's going to be paper, it's going to be plans, it's just going to be normal garbage. It's not going to be a restaurant of any sort or any food use. And it'll be a very small, inconspicuous dumpster, something similar to what a dentist office would have. The smallest, about the size of that conference room table, and short. It's not a big double dumpster or any sort of compaction dumpster. Very small dumpster.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other opposition that would like to speak? Step forward, please. Give us your name and address.
My name is Beth Hamer, and I live at 1683 Warren Lane. That is lot 15. And I do not know, this chain link fence evidently belongs to the house property. Right past that, which this doesn't show, is a creek that runs all the way down. Then we have some trees and our privacy fences. But I do not, looking at this, I cannot see that you could not, and I know a civil engineer said you cannot, but I believe if you took out the sidewalks, you could go straight down on the southern side of that house. It would be much easier for the people that were coming in and everybody if they would go take the concrete. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It says concrete.
Yeah.
If you took that out, then it'd just be a straight shot. And it says it looks as wide to me as where if this is to scale, as the other. And, Express Oil doesn't care a rip about what they put on the other side of the fence. I would like someone to look at that and see if that can't be done. I think that concrete going, and it says brick steps at the top, I think they're adding that. I don't think that's there now.
And what about the sump pump drainage?
I don't know about the sump truck.
Is that currently on the property?
I'm sorry, yes.
The drainage pump?
There's a natural spring in the property. That spring location feeds out of the property into that sump pump and then pumps to the creek in the back.
So that's currently there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you couldn't go over that anyway?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That driveway, that concrete, where it says concrete, is the existing driveway that goes to what is the one-car garage on that left side.
Okay.
The difficulty being, of course, the change in elevation from the front left corner of the house to the right, to the back left corner of the house is the equivalent of 8 feet drop in that space, whereas the right side had an existing driveway, gravel driveway that went to an existing shed location, one-car garage that's in the back. It's still an existing structure back there. It's just grown up with trees and vegetation. So that is already graded. It was already put in place as the driveway, and that's a daylight basement around that right side. So it's actually a forward-facing window on the right corner in the basement. So it actually has daylight in the basement to the front of the house. So the grade is such that it all grades that direction.
Okay.
I would suggest also that if that is going to be a driveway and you leave it on the north side, that it be made 12 feet. They said they could get away with 12 feet instead of 14 feet. Also, these people coming and going, my house is the first one. I'd want that privacy fence all the way to Rocky Ridge if that were possible, because I'll get all the noise also. I don't think it should stop right there. It should go all the way to the street, and I'd say 8 to 10 feet tall.
Okay, even though that's already, it's already within the regulations.
I'm not sure.
It already meets the requirements for the setback, and the property is already zoned for commercial business.
Well, I guess that what I'm saying is, for good neighbors, I'd like to see them put a fence in all the way down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your comments. Would the applicant like to address that about the fence down? Please step forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point in time that I'm ready to commit to the fence there. I am planning to landscape and plant and do some things for property improvement. It's a pretty derelict property. It's been vacant for 20 years. It has broken windows. It has blue tarps on the roof. There's a lot of reasons why no one wants to do this project. I'm trying to actually improve my neighborhood. So I'm not necessarily sure that I'm willing to commit at this point in time to doing a fence all the way to the front of the property for line of sight coming out of the building. I certainly want to be able to see traffic. And Rocky Ridge, she lives on the corner of Rocky Ridge right now. It's a fairly busy street.
Mm-hmm.
And they're adding additional commercial into the space, down the street in Catty Corner in Vestavia. So there's additional concerns there about making sure I'm not obstructing visual opportunity. So if it's possible and it makes sense, then we'll consider it. But at this point, I wouldn't commit to it.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
There was a question about the lighting.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you address that?
Yeah, so this is not an after-hours business.
Mm-hmm.
The plan is to keep the look. It has to be kept as it is. There's no new construction allowed on the property, so it has to continue the look of sort of a house or of a residential office conversion, similar to you find in Cahaba Heights or other parts of the city. So the plan would be minimal lighting, exterior lighting. It is a plan, and I understand that I don't have that plan in front of us right now, but the plan would be to sort of light the front of the house, probably uplighting something on next to the door that's sufficient for code, and then that would be the plan.
Okay,
Just generally.
thank you.
I don't want to light a parking lot I don't have to light.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other opposition that would like to come forward? Okay, if not, then this public hearing is now closed. Are there any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, then can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval with the stipulation that a 6-foot privacy fence be installed along the north property line where adjacent to residential development, and that the dumpster pad be located as close as 10 feet to the southern property border where adjacent to another commercial business and not a residential subdivision.
Okay,
I second the motion.
okay.
And
Just very quick point of order. What you may want to consider is just waiving that the 6-foot privacy fence where they cannot accommodate the 15-foot requirement.
that's correct.
Okay,
Yes,
that.
So then,
okay. So any against? Okay, well, the variance has been granted with the conditions stated by the board.
Madam Chair, you
I'm
didn't
sorry.
carry the motion.
Get a vote.
Oh, I thought y'all did, I'm sorry.
I second the motion.
Second motion. All in favor with the stipulations added?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the variance has been granted. Thank you. Okay, our final case for today is A240021, property owner Rodney Chase Stevens and Jessica Ray Stevens. A request, a variance from the terms of the zoning resolution to allow construction of a front porch to be located 30 feet from the front property line along Guthrie Drive in lieu of the required 35 feet. Would the staff please present the case?
Yes, ma'am. This case A240021. Again, the variance is for covered front porch to be located 30 feet from the property line in lieu of the required 35 feet. Zone is A1 agriculture. The house is under construction, or the structure is under construction. It's 4.8 acres. It's the size of the property. It was rezoned from I3 to A1 in 2022. Section 70102 outlines the setback requirements for A1 agriculture zoning. The front setback is indeed 35 feet. The need for this variance is because the porch was covered. Had the porch and stoop not been covered, there would be no need for the variance. Catch up here. Okay, as you can see right there, the right-of-way of Guthrie Drive, the building line, and you can see the covered porch encroaches on the building line 5 feet. Going to the aerial, you can look around and see that there'll be really no difference in the character of the neighborhood. There's no land-related hardships in this case. While the construction will be closer to the road, and much of the new construction within this subdivision, because of the large lot size and low density, the front setback infraction is not expected to create a visual disruption to the streetscape. Traffic engineering has been informed of the encroachment of the covered porch. They indicate that there should be no traffic conflict resulting from granting this variance. That being said, staff recommends approval for case A240021.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for the staff or the applicant regarding this case?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nobody. Okay, at this time, we'd like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? If so, please step forward, give us your name and address.
If you need me to. My name's Ryan Morton. I'm 2101 Guthrie Drive. So I'm the third house off of Morse Majestic. You got the pointer here? With the red button. So, let's see. That's my house right here. And so we owned all that property, and we sold the 5 acres, or 4.8 acres to the Stevens, which is here too. And we're the builders. So, my house, my best friend's house, my best friend's parents' house. So we all live on that road right there, and the only really reason is it just makes a little curve right there. It's one road, it's just us up there, and like I said, we were within the variance except for the porch ended up being covered. We tweaked the plans a little bit, but that was it. But
Okay.
that's it, really. I mean, he couldn't have said it more. He said it a lot better than I did. That's pretty much it.
So it's not an opposition.
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So are there any questions for the applicant from the board? Okay. If not, this public hearing is closed. And may I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve case A-24-0021.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, the variance has been granted. Thank you.
I like his game plan for picking his
Yes.
neighbors.
Yes, that was very peaceful. So, Have all members of the board had a chance to review the case materials and minutes from the April 22nd, 2024 hearing that were sent to us electronically?
Yes.
Can I have a motion from the board regarding the minutes from the April 22nd, 2024 hearing?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of the minutes for April 24th, 2024. 22nd,
Yeah.
2024.
Second motion.
All in
Say
favor?
that one.
Any opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Clear my. Thank you. I was like, what?